What is up, guys? This is Foden here with another tutorial in Cinema 4D, which is editing a model's mesh. Now, as we can see here, actually I'll just take the skeleton and all that out just to make things a bit easier and hide the lights. Right, so we've got our model. This is just an example. But if you want to say edit something on his body, I don't know, say you want his chin to come out, stick out more, or something like that. There's sort of three things you can do to edit in a model's mesh. First thing you need to do is select the model, and as you can see here, we can see all the polygons that builds this model up, and they get more high poly towards the face and more lower poly towards the body and hands. Obviously, the major parts like the head, hands, and feet are high poly, and the rest is low. So obviously the low poly models will be easier to adjust because there's less points, as I'll explain in a minute. High poly models do get a bit more tricky and require a bit more time, and you can run into some problems, but it's all about the patience and spending the time doing it. So first of all, once we've got our model selected, if we come over to here, these tools, these are the ones that are used for editing a model's mesh, especially these three. And what that does is, it's pretty much a clear explanation throughout the picture. So we can see here that this is points, lines, and faces. So if I want to grab a point, you come down, check that button, make sure you got the model selected, check that button, and you can click a point and you can start adjusting it. And if I just click that off, you can see that's sort of dragged out. It looks a bit funny, so you may have to move the rest. But if I was going to do a chin, I'll talk that through in a bit, actually, because I'll just get the rest of the buttons done before I start doing some more advanced stuff. Yeah, so the line tool. So instead of grabbing a point, you can grab a line, and you can move that out. E.g. like that. Or you can go for the face tool, which you can select one of these and bring that out. So there's three different ways you can edit a model's mesh, either by the face, lines, or points. Now you can select several points. You can either just click and hold. No, that's not right. Yeah, if you want to do that, if you want to select multiple points, I'd suggest clicking the selection tool, which is this up here. Not the move tool, the selection tool. So you've got a selection tool and the points. Point button selected with the model selected as well. And then what you can do is you can click, hold down, a little circle appears. And then you can just move your cursor across each of the points and it will select it. And once they're all selected, you can bring them all out together. And then hit Control Z. So that applies again with the lines. You can hit the selection tool and select loads of them. However, you don't... No, I don't know which bit to go through first. Oh, okay. Say if you are selecting some and you accidentally click a line that you don't want, you're like, shit, I don't want that. Instead of doing it all again, you can... Actually, no, there's two things here. I'm just thinking as I go along, and then it's just one thing pops up. First of all, if you draw something and you let go, and you think, oh shit, I want to add something, you hold Shift, and then you continue to proceed clicking down on the mouse button and dragging. If you want to subtract any, hold Control, and then drag across, and that just removes it all. So, if you select some lines and you want to add more, hold Shift and then mouse click and drag. And if you want to subtract, Control, click and hold and move across. So that's how you select multiple sort of points, lines or faces once you've clicked out. Just saves you doing it again. And also if you want to... Actually, how do I explain it? It says hit... So you click on the selection tool, it comes up with this little box. It says only select visible elements, and that's checked. So if I select, say, the face tool, and I wanted to select this bit, it's got only select visible elements check, and basically whatever I can see it will select. For example, the back, that won't be affected because I can only see the front. However, if you check that off and then you do it, it will go straight through the front because only select visible elements. The back isn't visible, so that's selecting that. Turn around is selected that as well. So, for example, if I wanted to move the chin, now we're getting back to it, go into maybe a side view. Oops. Get the face tool and selection tool, which is selection tool and face tool, and you can just like grab a bit of it, and then you can drag that out. So that's sort of, you know, going to side view, checking that off. It just saves time, just, you know, selecting just a little bit, which will take you straight through to the other side, and then it just saves you having to do the right side and then the left side, because that gets a bit annoying. So if I can click Control Z and bring that back. There's another thing as well which I learned during facial expressions is click the selection tool and you come down to the mode and you click soft selection. Now for this you need the points and select the model. Now as we can see here, it's all yellow, so we need to go back to the selection tool and we need to turn the radius down to about 1. 1 or 2 until you start seeing a little yellow mark. Here we go. The more points, the lighter the colour goes. But say I want to do a 5 radius, and what it does is I can select 1 point. However, it's put this like little circle around of colour. Obviously, the brightest being really strong, and where it starts to fade out, it gets very weak. And what that does is, if I move this point, it will move the main point that I've selected to wherever I want. However, the points surrounding it, depending on your radius, will be adjusted as well. But the movement of this point will not be exactly the same as the movement as this point, because this is a strong colour and this is a weak colour. So this will be only moved slightly. But you never know, if you want to make, I don't know, some facial expressions, and you want to move the cheeks up, instead of doing all the points, grab soft selection, choose your right radius, click your point, move it, and it adjusts the surrounding points at the same time. So it saves a lot, it saves a hell of a lot of time, and it also will look better and more realistic, because then you might not have the odd point that looks out of place, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's what I would do, guys. And then it's just playing around after that, seeing what you can do. That's pretty much all I can really say. So I hope this really helped you guys. Again, if you have any tutorials, please comment them down. With Google Plus, I do try and comment to I do reply to every comment, but sometimes they don't show up until a few days after. It's just like, oh, for God's sake. I've seen loads of comments in my community tab in YouTube settings, and it said all these comments. Like, well, I haven't seen those on Google Plus. So if I do not reply, sorry about it. It's because Google Plus. As soon as somebody replies, I instantly reply back. So, or you can inbox me on YouTube or Skype me. All that detail is on my YouTube channel in the About section. So there's several ways you can contact me, and I'll always get back to you. So yeah, please like and comment, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.